Dynamics GP allows us an easy method for associating certain types of expenses with clinical trials. We simply create each clinical trial to be tracked, assign the expense accounts that must be assigned to a clinical trial, book our transactions, and then view the results in our financial statements. The first step in our process will be to set up a new clinical trial. This window is used to create each new clinical trial for which we need to capture and track expenses. We can also use the lookup button to view existing clinical trials that have previously been created. By setting up clinical trials here, as opposed to using general ledger account codes, we can avoid needlessly ballooning out our chart of accounts. We will look up the clinical trial ID to indicate that we will be defining the expense accounts for which clinical trials must be specified in order to complete a transaction. Select Clinical Trials to indicate that we will be defining the expense accounts for which clinical trials must be specified in order to complete a transaction. Specifying only those expenses that pertain to clinical trials, we simplify the data entry process, allowing users to ignore the clinical trial codes altogether when booking expenses unrelated to trials. We also have the ability to improve data accuracy by making the assignment of clinical trials optional or mandatory for ranges of GL account codes. Now let's enter an invoice for some expenses. First, we look up a vendor. Now we choose the general ledger expense accounts to which we will code the transaction. Because we have selected an expense account that is related to clinical trials, we can select the icon to assign a clinical trial to this expense. In this case, we elected to assign all of the expense to one clinical trial. We also have the option to break out the expenses to multiple trials by % or dollar amount. Now that we have booked the expense, we can use Management Reporter, the default financial reporting tool that comes with Dynamics GP, to see our expense breakout by clinical trial. This report displays each clinical trial in a separate column for easy comparative analysis. This method of tracking expenses related to clinical trials allows us to set up new trials quickly and easily without expanding our chart of accounts, and also helps ensure data accuracy by letting us dictate which types of expenses must be coded to a valid and active clinical trial. Because it integrates with standard financial reporting, it is also very easy for management to track activity for each trial. For more information on how Dynamics GP can help you with this and other life sciences business challenges, please contact a representative of Tridea Partners at sales@trideapartners.com or call us at 858-755-3700.